Hey everybody, welcome to another replay from a goon that isn't me, this time FatherSnuggles, also on the EU server, playing his Panzer 3-4. Now I found out why the last replay, the M41 replay by Sipolipus, I found out why that was running like shit. Actually, Steam was taking up 1.5 gigabytes of my 8 gig of fucking RAM. Why, I don't know. I restarted Steam, it's taking up a more normal amount now. But I'm going to use the start of this video, at least where nothing's really happening, as a brief soapbox about Steam becoming fucking awful, unoptimized bloatware instead of a convenient way to play games. I don't play TF2 very often, I certainly don't trade items, I don't need fucking item trading, I don't need trading cards, I don't need fucking any of that shit. I want to be able to play my games through Steam and talk to my friends through Steam. That's all I fucking need. I don't give a shit about any of the other stuff. The workshop's okay. Workshop's fine. Everything else can fuck off. It makes Steam less stable, it makes it take up more resources, which in turn makes my games run like shit. It's pointless. At least make it, or at least make it opt-in, so I can just say nope, don't want to do it. And then also I'll probably be able to get people to stop sending me fucking trade requests for TF2 all the goddamn time, which is probably 90% of the reason anybody ever tries to add me as a friend on Steam. Anyway, back to the match. He takes his 3/4 out to field and starts dumping shells into the sides of the enemy heavies, who foolishly sit out in the middle of the open field. Not a good move on their part. However, the bulk of the team has made it into city. And although he looks for shots on this Sherman and anything else stupid enough to still be out here, it looks like the enemy team has fairly heavily committed into the town, where they really should be on this map. Now you'll notice if you look at the minimap, the XVM view distance range circles, the 3/4 has absolutely atrocious view range. I guess like 310 meters or something. I just thought that would be worth pointing out. That's one of the significant problems of trying to carry a match in this tank. A lot of stuff will outspot you even at tier 5. The fight in town is swinging in the enemy's favor, mostly because 4 of the enemy tanks on Snuggles' team have not actually gone into the town. Only one of them has now moved in. One of them is out in the fucking field, of all places, and the other 2 have barely left spawn. Looking at the colour of their names on XVM, it's not hard to understand why. Snuggles moves through the field, hoping to come in behind them, no doubt, while the few remaining city tanks on his team hold their attention from the north. He sees a chance to get shots on the KV-1, and so he takes it. But the KV rolls into cover. He's probably spending a little bit more time than is needed out here, looking for more shots on that KV. It's not in a position where he can currently hit it. But the T1 Heavy can hit it, and so it manages to finish it off. The AT2 proclaims that the enemy type T-34 has no courage, only money. It appears that the guy's an Italian as well. Interestingly enough, there seems to be just as much broken English on the NA server as the EU server, but at least on the EU server you have a lot of languages playing on it, so that's why. On NA, I think actually some of the worst offenders are native English speakers, not even Brazilians or Argentinians or whatever. So communication on NA is not as easy as you might think. Snuggles has actually managed to come up behind the enemy tanks, but it's now not at all a good situation. While the friendly Stug hides as far away as he possibly can, Snuggles is facing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tanks. 7 tanks in town. It's okay though, the Stug will go deal with the Artie. The real threat here, obviously. Snuggles very carefully pops around this corner. The B1 was actually pre-aimed. The T-34 is as well, but he's slow to take his shot. I don't know why. And he doesn't have a fire extinguisher. Always carry fire extinguishers. Snuggles takes a snapshot at the M7, but it misses. 3/4 doesn't have the best aim blue, but he's able to take it out. Now he's got a T1 to deal with. Now unfortunately the 3/4 turret is in the middle of the tank, more towards the rear, and so to actually get shots on the T1, unless he side scrapes, which he thinks to do now, he's exposing more than half of his tank around that corner. Also that truck's destructible, so the T1, if it had known, could have shot him through it. But Snuggles is able to come out on top of that engagement, and he goes looking for something else to kill, while the Stug is hunted down by the Wolverine. He goes looking in the last spotted position of the KV-1S. He gets lit, but he doesn't spot whatever lit him in return. And the KV-1S has actually gone south to deal with the Stug, as has the Matilda, which means it was the AT-2 which saw him, and he somehow did not spot the AT-2 back. Again, the Panzer III-quarters terrible view range is coming into effect here. Now, what an average puppy might do in this situation is simply push straight back into town. That would be a mistake, because the enemy tanks know where Snuggles is coming from. They know he's in the north. They are probably all pre-aiming their guns to the north. So to drive in from that direction would be literal suicide. You're just driving into pre-aimed enemy guns. And this is another aspect of the vast gulf of difference between a puppy's playstyle and an actual good player's playstyle. A puppy would drive straight in and then wonder why they got killed when they drove straight into pre-aimed guns. A good player knows where the guns are pre-aimed and drives around, which is exactly what Snuggles is doing now. And he's doing it carefully, because he knows the Matilda was last seen down here somewhere, but he probably also realizes the Matilda's moving north. Instead of even coming in from the gap at F9, which is an obvious position, at least one of them might be aiming that way, Snuggles does the really smart thing and drives all the way back through the enemy spawn. He doesn't even cut in here when they get on cap. He actually kicks further out to the right to take the causeway across, and then come in the long way through F0, which is certainly not anywhere puppies would normally pre-aim, because they would expect him to be coming either from his own side of the map or from the direction of where the Matilda was last spotted. They would expect him to come through the F8, F9 gap, or from the west. Very seldom would you expect anybody to pop out from the east where he's about to come from. So with 6 kills already secured, Snuggles carefully pops around the corner, very carefully, and spots the AT-2 with its back turned. He's able to get one shot in safely before it turns on him. It has the dirt gun, so sitting in front of it would be suicide. The Matilda actually bounces there, and he's able to clean it up. And then the Matilda starts bitching because it was shot with an APCR round. When it's 7-on-1, I think APCR is pretty fair, especially against tanks that are known for having heavy armor. Now, instead of come back from the same direction, Snuggles is coming in from a different direction. Again, this is how you play the game. The 82's already turned to face him, so he backs away, doesn't even wait for his shot to settle, he just takes it and runs. You can actually see here as he turns his tank around, you can almost hear him think, which direction do I come from now? The answer, not either of the two you've already used. You've got just shy of 2.5 minutes to reposition, so why not use it? And that's exactly what he starts doing. Again, he heads back through the enemy spawn, taking the long way around so that he's not spotted. While the 3/4 may have abysmal view range, so does the AT2. Knowing how much time you have to play with and knowing how to use it is a really important skill. Quite often when pubbies see somebody get on cap, they'll start flipping their shit. The timer, the siren, everything, it just makes them panic, and so they will drive straight in and try and reset and usually suicide their tank to do it, even if they've got a lot of time left on the clock, like Snuggles does here. Being able to avoid that panic is really, really important. So here we go, Snuggles rolls in from a different direction. The AT2 again is not looking, notice it was pre-aimed on the last position he popped from. And by now he's able to get in behind it, it doesn't have a chance. Run for medals, says Matilda. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But he certainly did actually get a lot of medals out of this game, so who's going to complain? It was an incredibly good recovery. His team did nothing. He managed to pick up 8 kills and carry them very strongly to victory with some excellent play there at the end and a good demonstration of how to reposition and deal with a heavily armored opponent that can one-shot you in a mobile tank late in the game. Hope you enjoyed the video as much as I did. Thanks for watching. I wish you the best of luck in the field, and I'll see you next time.